Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie. This is what we're here to do, try a different style of film.
Yeah.
And I know you have a very different style. You're next too, so
Oh my
let's
God.
get on to it. What was the second film that you watched this week?
So I'm a big Dave Lynch fan. So obviously with the passing of David Lynch, I had never seen, admittedly, the movie Eraserhead. Yeah, I know you and I have talked about before being like movies that you should have seen by now, and Eraserhead is definitely one of that for me. I've seen pretty much all of David Lynch's other works, and I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. But I'd never watched Eraserhead. And Eraserhead is probably one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen in my life. The story is a guy, he kind of works in this weird industrial part of town or anything like that. But, he knocks up his girlfriend, I guess. And come to find out, she ends up having his mutant baby. And then, through a series of circumstances, he's taking care of this very gross baby that won't stop crying at night. And it's all in black and white, and it's very surreal, and there's a lot of dream sequences. There's a lot of stuff that's in this movie that is actually used in Twin Peaks, and it reminded me of that. But just this mutant baby that he has to take care of, and just there were actually like horrifying scenes and cuts that I was not expecting this movie that were just like so shocking. And it was just done in 1977, and it just had an impact to it. I think it's really more, I guess, of an allegory of, kind of fearing being a first time father. But it's done in a really, really disturbing way. And it devolves into all sorts of madness, from making out with a woman in a milk tub, to scenes from outer space, to things just being super weird. It is as David Lynch as it gets. It's David Lynch's first movie. And it is absolutely disturbing, and oddly provocative. It is a work of art. I don't know if I ever want to see this movie again. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I do. I think I'd watch Terrifier again before I watch this, because I feel
Whoa.
that with Terrifier, a lot of what was going on there was very surface level when it comes to violence. But there was something about Eraserhead that was way more psychological on top of the gross shit. That was really disturbing to watch, and just it's so unsettling. And I just kept thinking to myself, I'm like, my God, like I can't wait for this movie to be over. Not because it was bad, because I just didn't want to be exposed to this awfulness anymore. And just the baby wouldn't stop crying, and then eventually it starts like laughing to itself. There's even like this really gross sequence where it gets sick and it's like covered in pus and fucking grossness. And yeah, and then it just ends. So I mean, there's a lot of things that you could interpret it from the ending. It's David Lynch is known for having a real surreal take on everything, and having an approach to films that they should be like dreams. This movie definitely feels like a nightmare. If you're a fan of David Lynch and you like Twin Peaks, I think you should check this out, because there's a lot in the images that tie literally directly to the images that you see in Twin Peaks in season 1, 2, and much more The Return, which was the third season for Twin Peaks. I felt that Twin Peaks season 3 and Eraserhead were very, very closely tied together, because, as we know, Twin Peaks was canceled. I can't even believe it was on network TV, because it just kind of devolved into this strange thing that David Lynch does. But uh, when he got it on Showtime and Twin Peaks The Return came on, he just basically was like, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, and it's going to be surreal, and I don't care. I'm going to have long takes. And, again, was very, 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 very weird, and harkened back to this original work. So I would recommend it if you're a fan of David Lynch. I think if you're not a fan of David Lynch and you don't know what you're getting into, you might be kind of like not in the right part of town. So, yeah. But with that being said, I have to put it above When We Were Kings and just behind Lawrence of Arabia, because I do think that by itself it is. I enjoyed it for what it was trying to do. I enjoy David Lynch, and I do find it to be incredibly well done, and I do find it to be a piece of art, much more than something like When We Were Kings or Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 again is a little engine that could for me, and I spoke on that at length. But Eraserhead is going to be right behind Lawrence of Arabia for me.
Wow, I'm surprised. And I'll be honest, I knew nothing of this movie. I don't know much of David Lynch's. I did not watch Twin Peaks. I think the
Surprised.
I think the only movie I might have seen of David Lynch that I can remember off the top of my head was Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago.
What'd you think of that?
I don't remember. I think I remember liking it, but I'll be honest, Soto, I don't remember much of it. It's hard for me. When you watch so many movies, you're just like, what happened again? Oh, yeah. So
that's a weird
one. I don't know. It might be one of those movies, like if I watch it, it's like rewatching it. I don't know if that counts or not. But anyhow, I've just heard of the title Eraserhead. I never knew what it was about. So
it's it definitely is its own thing. It's a singular, piece of film. And I think the follow-up is probably Elephant Man. And then David Lynch went into, I don't know if did you ever see the original Dune with Kyle MacLachlan and Sting?
I think so.
That's also David Lynch.
That was a long one. I don't know.
I prefer that one over the new Dune, but that's another podcast.
And Elephant Man, I honestly think I might have read, because I think William Goldman wrote that screenplay, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like a series, like 9 screenplays from him. So again, I could be wrong about that. It just sounds familiar, but again, I don't want to go off on a tangent here because that's pretty much what we do. But yeah, no, I knew nothing of Eraserhead. I just saw that picture. I'm like, oh, okay, look at that hair.
That's yeah. I mean, me too. I really, it's interesting when you don't know what you're getting into with the movie, and you kind of let a movie play out and you have no idea where it's going. And this is one of those movies that you can't predict where it's going, and it goes into, it's actually for me a nightmare put on screen. I can picture this being this absolute nightmare. It's done really well.